Well, what is up, everybody? This is Keith, the Go Back Gator Guy 231 across the DFS industry. It is Tuesday night, April 27th. Just got done watching the extended highlights, if there was any, from Chelsea and Madrid. Hope you all did better than me. Cash faded Benzema. Kind of alluded that I was going to do that, especially when I saw Marcelo as a wingback. Should have known better. Like, that slate was all about if you got one of the goals, you were in really good shape to cash. You got both goals, you were sweating GPPs. Realistically, the game had no 4 points. So, I wouldn't, like, if you're looking, you go, man, I got destroyed. I didn't get the goals and I got destroyed. Like, I have to chase the goals next day. Like, you just got to remember these slates, you have to somewhat treat them independent of each other. There was no floor points to be said for at all. Like the crossing was pretty much non-existent. You had wingbacks that were struggling to get the 3 to 4 DK. Some of these guys toss some of these results out. Look at your process. Did your process make sense? Look, if the game was 0-0 and I had 4 defenders, Mason Mount and Tony Cruz, I killed it. So it is what it is. We move on. This game should have a lot more peripheral points, and looking forward to it. I think that of the ties, this is by far the more enjoyable and the more sought after one. And of course, this is Manchester City versus Paris Saint-Germain. Let's jump into it, but just a quick reminder, subscribe, comment, like. Would love it nothing more if you could do all three of those things. It really does help. Continue to help us bring you free content. And just one other thing before we go to it. Shout out to my guy, Alex Hooper, at Lex Hooper on Twitter. I'll make sure it's right. You just look at my timeline, you'll find out. But on with Jordan Cooper on Theory of DFS was awesome to listen to. The pod was out on the road all day today. Listened to the whole thing. Thought both were excellent. Make sure just to check that out. Support him. He's going to be doing a lot more on FSI. You'll know him from Tilt City, but me and him were talking about just trying to expand that, give him more of a chance to be out there giving out content. He does a phenomenal job. So look for more of that coming up. All right, enough infomercials, all that stuff. Let's get into the content. All right, let's check out the odds. So we got PSG plus 235. Man City plus 113, 2.75 total. So again, not like a huge total by any means. Fairly square game. But look, what do we know about? I wanted to be on Draftkings. Let me pull that up. Wow. Sorry about that. But let me just kind of like talk about like the game as we see it. What do we know about Man City, right? Possession dominant, high press. To really break down Manchester City, there's only two ways, right? You either play through the line, so you have guys that are great on the ball. PSG have that, and they can break the pressure, or you do long balls on the counter, which PSG also had. So it's a really, really interesting game. I'm very curious. I was talking about Tendril Storm. I was talking to Storm about this before coming on, and just about like what lineups could be. And I'll bring that up now. I think Sofa probably has it right here, but I brought up about how Pep completely overthought the Lyon game last year. If you remember, I think after the game comments where he was so worried about Maxime Cornet and Depay on the counter attack that he had to play 3 center backs and Kyle Walker as a wing back, and they got knocked out as a result. So I think it's I would think Pep, being as good as he is not going to overthink this and should just play his normal 9, and his best 9 this year has been without a true number 9, without a striker. It's been having, Phil Foden, Kevin De Bruyne, or Bernardo Silva playing the false number 9. Really no true striker, just having them interchange and giving the center backs fits. And that's what I expect him to do. That's what Sofa expects him to do. That's what he did over the weekend in the Championship Cup versus Tottenham. So I guess let me go back. Sorry, I'm jumping around, but I think knowing what we know, there's really 2 guys on PSG we want, right? Neymar and Mbappe. I don't think it's a Di Maria game because I don't think that PSG are going to be in a possessionally dominant situation where they're going to be the ones setting the tone of the game. So, PSG and Ligue 1 can set the tone of the game. The other team is on the defensive. So that's when you get Angel Di Maria, with a ton of crosses, a ton of chances. We saw versus Bayern him drifting into the background. And honestly, sorry to Bayern fans, but City's a better team than Bayern. I've been saying all season, City's the best team in the world. So I really in my opinion, it's Neymar and Mbappe, and then it's Neymar for cash. Neymar realistically has a double-digit floor. City is very, very big on when somebody does break the lines, especially someone like Neymar. Like when I'm talking about somebody to break the lines, there's two guys I have in mind for PSG. It's Marco Verratti, who's great on the ball, and Neymar. Both has a chance to draw a decent amount of fouls, but Neymar really is the outlet. Anytime he gets a step on one of these City's center midfielders, so whether it's Rodri, I could totally see Pep bringing Fernandinho in and playing like a Mahrez, Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, Ilkay Gundogan with like Rodri and Fernandinho behind him. I could totally see Pep doing that just out of the concern of Neymar breaking the lines. As like a side bet, I'm not a big gambler. It's not legal in Florida, so I don't really want to set up these crazy books. I'll wait for DraftKings or FanDuel to get here. But Rodri or Fernandinho, whoever starts to get a yellow card, that would be an interesting bet. I think there's a really good chance it happens. All right. So Neymar, I think, has double-digit floor. He's going to be over at least half the sets if Di Maria is in. It's going to be on PKs. It's going to be on free kicks. And he's going to draw 6, 7. Hell, if he drew 9, 10 fouls this game, I would not be shocked. So Neymar, to me, is a lock. That's really it from PSG. If you want to type in one of the cheapies, I said it the last time he scored before getting injured, but I'm Marquinhos over Diallo. I want no part of Diallo. He's not going to do anything out there other than be on an island. All right. Let's go to the City side because this is where all the DFS exposure is going to be. I think, realistically, Kevin De Bruyne and Neymar are your first 2 clicks in any sort of cash build. GPP, do whatever. But in a cash build, Kevin De Bruyne, probably your guy over as a captain. Keep in mind, it'll be interesting from a PK perspective. The last PK City had with both De Bruyne and Mahrez on the pitch, Mahrez took after Kevin De Bruyne took like 5 straight. So that'll be interesting. But, to me, those are the 2 with the most set equity. All 3, Mahrez, De Bruyne, Foden, took sets this past weekend. Mahrez is a little cheaper than Foden, so I kind of would lead Mahrez. But look, if you're team Foden, I think Foden has more skill. I think you're going to end up doing Kevin De Bruyne plus one of these 2. And then maybe in GPP, you fade Neymar for both, right? The midfield 3, I think, are all more GP. Like Silva and Gundogan will be GPP. Gundogan, his goal scoring record speaks for himself. I guess he's a great GPP play, but he's going to need a goal to get there and to pay off. And construction's kind of funky if you play him. Rodri, I think, is a great value. I think he's only, 4K? 4K. I'm on captain. I'm like, why is nobody at 4K? Anybody I know? 4,000. So I think he's a really solid value, especially if you see Fernandinho in. Rodri gets up more. So that's worth noting. Fernandinho is almost min price, so he'd be interesting. Walker, the less offensive of the 2 fullbacks. Cancelo, to me, will be super, super popular in cash. Walker is cheap enough that I get it. And then, never discount the City center backs. Diaz and Stones both get enough passes that, they have a floor. You have a 2-3 DK floor, then they get a shot or they get a tackle or some interceptions, foul drawn, and you're off and running. Goalkeeper, Navas could be busy. I think he's interesting. As somebody that's not going to be owned, everybody's going to be stacking up City. So playing Navas will get you be a little bit contrarian. Ederson, honestly, you should see some action too. My biggest concern is the Ederson action that he sees is Mbappe one-on-one. Like Mbappe is going to have him. I guess let me go back to Mbappe because I really like him as a GPP play. City's biggest problem, and I'm sure Pep's going to draw them in them, but it's just overcommitting. And, whether it's a long ball, we saw Stones get a red. What was it? Not this past game, but the game before, got a red because he was beat for pace. Diaz and Stones don't have a ton of pace. Kyle Walker is the guy with pace. But if Mbappe is going at one-on-one or has a step on Stones or Diaz, that's going to be dangerous for them. And we know Mbappe, this Champions League has been all about Mbappe. And, I like his chances one-on-one with Ederson to score. So I think Mbappe, elite GPP play. Wouldn't call you crazy if you put him in cash. But your cash locks, and let's go to the builds now, are De Bruyne and Neymar. I think because Kevin De Bruyne, funny enough, is cheaper than Neymar, I think Kevin De Bruyne is your first in, Neymar is your next. Then I think most people are going to decide here. So if you go Mbappe, I'm not crazy. You're not crazy, but I think the next people are going to go Foden or Mahrez, just because he crosses a little bit more. And the PK, I guess right now I lean Mahrez, but just barely. Don't call you crazy for going Foden. Foden's obviously amazing. I think this is just the dead zone. Excuse me. I think, the next player that's going to carry ownership is João Cancelo at 5,800. I think he's, for a lot of people, it's going to be the fourth guy in. And as you see in this build, you got 4,000 left. So now all of a sudden you could drop down. You could do like Rodrigo, Kurzawa, maybe could start left back. Maybe go Diallo like they have. Kurzawa would give them a little bit more going forward, but who knows? But there's your center back. So I think a lot of people could end up playing Ruben Diaz, will show up fairly popular, unless Fernandinho is in at 3,200. I think he become chalk. So you go something like this. You also have Kyle Walker sitting there at 4,400. Should be a popular option. So you can see this build works. And now if you still probably have the money to go Foden. So yeah, you could go Diaz plus Rodrigo. You probably fall a little bit short of. Do you fall short of Kyle Walker? Yeah, you fall 100 short of Kyle Walker if you want it with Diaz. But even if you wanted to, if you go, Gator, you're crazy. Mbappe's a must play. This works, right? Just take 2 pumps. Go Ruben Diaz, and then where's my boy Marquinhos? Is he? Oh man, 4,200. Not going to be my boy tomorrow. Idrissa Gueye, is going to get chances. You should have some center backs down here. Riskin Pepe. Yeah, you could work. I think you get the idea. And obviously, for GPP, switching up your captain is going to be huge. So, Kevin De Bruyne is going to be, and Neymar are going to carry in cash probably 80% of the captain ownership, and GPP is probably 50. So change it up. Mbappe captain, go goalie captain. Nobody's going to do that. The point of GPPs is to differentiate, is to give yourself upside equity at number one, especially in these top heavy GPPs. Don't go at, what is it tomorrow? The $20. I haven't looked. The $20 to $16. Don't go at that one with a cash lineup expecting to that be plus EV. That's a negative expected value move. Switch something up, be a little bit crazy, enjoy the game. And the last thing I want to say, script the game. Games with big teams against each other often are, especially in first legs, it's who doesn't make the mistake. We saw that a lot with Chelsea and Madrid today. If that early goal, Chelsea doesn't get that early goal, you could really easily see that game being 0-0. So, it'll be interesting to see if both these teams play a little bit tight. They shouldn't, but, big games, man. Big games. Coaches don't want to make mistakes. So, playing for like a 1-0 or a 0-0 scoreline, that could be really contrarian in a slate where everybody's loading up on the big names. So the Neymar, the Mbappe, the Kevin De Bruyne, Mahrez, Foden, all that stuff. People are just going to want to stuff those top guys. And if they lay a dud, you come in with some goalkeepers, you could really, do quite well. So that'll do it, guys, gals. Thank you all so much. I hope that this helps. Once again, like, comment, subscribe. It's really appreciated. And with that, I'll say, see you.